Hi there. One of the questions I get asked the most is, what's a good instrument to start out on? The first thing to do is make sure you're getting the right type of instrument. If you want to play Dobro, which is a slang term, it's really a name brand, but usually it refers to a resonator guitar that's played on your lap and only with a slide. Now, if you want to play it like this, that's not a Dobro. What you need is a square neck resonator guitar, typically with a spider bridge. Those are things to look for. A round neck resonator guitar is made to be played like this. And a square neck is flat like this. So the neck on a square neck is thicker and stronger, and then the strings are lifted up away from the fingerboard for playing slide only. The bridge is a little harder to recognize. The spider bridge, what we're looking at is underneath this cover plate. So this top metal piece that looks like a hubcap, that's the cover plate. Underneath there, if you look through the holes, we have like a metal web looking thing. And then the saddle pieces sit in the middle on top of that. But the cone is the spider is actually supported by the legs on the outside of the cone. Now, a biscuit bridge is a completely different design. And if this were a biscuit bridge, what you would see is a round cutout here, and you would see the edges of a black round piece right here that's the biscuit. So if you see a round piece like there, and there's a round cutout on the cover plate, chances are that's a biscuit bridge and probably not your best first instrument to play Dobro. Next, we'd look at playability. Playability is not a big issue with square neck instruments because we're only playing slide. It doesn't have the delicate neck bend that needs to be perfect to play easy. They're all pretty easy to play as long as the string spacing is correct. The strings need to be flat. If you lay the bar on the strings, they need to hit all of the strings without forcing it down. In general, most decent square necks are going to be fine to play, and most of what you're paying for is going to be tone. When you get a more expensive Dobro, it's going to sound better. So the good news is, if you get a starter instrument, it's not going to hold you back in terms of learning. You'll just need to upgrade when it's time to sound better. A couple of little things to look for. One thing is the string spacing. Typically, the string spacing at the nut is going to be just under 2 inches. Maybe 1 7/8 inches, 1 3/4 at the narrowest. That's going to be the distance between the top string and the low string. And then if you check the spacing down here at the bridge, it's going to be over 2 inches, maybe 2 1/8, maybe even 2 1/4. If it's somewhere in that ballpark, you're probably okay. And then make sure that the strings are evenly spaced and that they're flat. One thing you can look for right away is if you look at the saddles. I don't know if you'll be able to see these. Let's see those pieces that the strings are sitting on. There's a gap in between. So there's 3 strings on one piece, 3 strings on another piece. If you get a beginner guitar and there's one piece saddle, it's kind of a red flag that they just threw some kind of saddle on there, and it might even be curved. If it's curved, then the strings are curved on top of it, and then you lay your bar down and you only hit 2 of the strings because there's a radius to it. We don't want a radius to it. These should be flat. For beginner instruments, you're going to see name brands like Regal, Gretsch, Recording King. Those are 3 that I would totally recommend. They're all pretty solid. String spacing's good. If you want to take the next step, I really like what's called a gold tone beard. Now, beard is a fantastic resonator guitar maker. They worked together with Goldtone, who's in China. So these are built in China, and then to Beard's specifications, Beard's sets them up. They have good quality parts. And that's really the best next step up. And then when you get into the professional instruments, those be like the American-made Beards, Shearhorns, names like that. To get you going, a Recording King, a Regal, or a Gretsch is a fine way to get started. Just make sure you get a square neck resonator guitar with a spider bridge and you should be all set. And I hope that helps you pick out your very first Dobro.